The top stories tonight in Y News. 4 people died, including 1 woman who was amid protests and rioting of Trump supporters in the U.S. Capitol. The U.S. Congress, meanwhile, affirms Joe Biden's presidential win despite the rampage.
Charter change talks are set to be revived in the House of Representatives this month, but a Makabayan bloc lawmaker claims it as a term extension to the Duterte administration.
The Department of Justice takes over the jurisdiction over the controversial death of flight attendant Christine Dacera, stressing that the case is not yet closed. A group of physicians discourage the use of copper masks to protect against COVID-19.
Japan still holds the top spot as the most powerful passport in the world, offering visa-free access to 191 countries.
And several original Filipino music artists in a tight race at the 2021 Wish Music Awards. Good evening, Philippines and the world. Today is Thursday, January 7, 2021. I am Jorlene Delgado.
Join us in the next hour as we deliver today's top stories around the country and in other parts of the world. I'm Angelo Castro III.
We are also seen in 1,935 satellite monitoring centers nationwide and via live streaming worldwide through the UNTV News and Rescue social media accounts and our website, untvweb.com. I am William Theo.
Meanwhile, the Philippine government is confident that the recent chaos that engulfed the United States Congress on Thursday after supporters of outgoing President Donald Trump entered its building will not affect its democratic processes. According to presidential spokesperson Harry Roque, the important thing was to make sure that no Filipino was involved in the chaos. The government immediately directed the Philippine Embassy and the consulate in the country to monitor the situation of the Filipino community.
Kampante po ang ating Secretary of Foreign Affairs na hindi naman po matitinag ang demokrasya dyan sa Amerika sa panandaliang pagkakagulong nakikita natin. Ang importante lang ngayon ay masiguro na walang Pilipino po na mapapasama dyan sa gulong na yan.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is set to resume its charter change debates this month, but leaders assure that discussions will focus only on the restrictive economic provisions of the 1987 Constitution. Ray Pelayo will tell us why live. Yes, Ray, good evening.
Good evening, Will. Members of the Makabayan bloc expressed their opposition on the imminent hearing in the House of Representatives of the proposed constitutional amendment. Bayan muna Representative Carlos Zarate said that the measure is untimely and there is a political motive behind it.
Ang nasa likod din nito ay talagang pagtutulak ng mga political na pagbabago, no? Gaya ng term extension and lifting of term limits ng mga politiko.
Anak Kalusugan Party List Representative Mike Defensor warned his colleagues that taking up charter change will just hamper the government response to the effect of COVID-19. Defensor adds, even if he is in favor of the constitutional amendments, the timing to him is just not right. The Committee on Constitutional Amendments scheduled the hearing next Wednesday. Committee Chair and Ako Bicol Party List Representative Alfredo Garbin Jr. said that the proposed amendment will just focus on the economic provision as stated in the resolution filed by Speaker Alan Velasco in 2019. Measure, he said, will help the country to recover from the effect of COVID-19 pandemic.
This is the answer. Isang solusyon sa pagtugon sa pandemya na kung saan bumagsak yung ating ekonomiya. We are negative 18 GDP growth and we want more investment maraming trabaho, maraming foreign capitals, foreign investment that will create jobs para yung ating mga kababayan ay hindi na pumuntang mag-iba yung bansa at hindi na maiwan yung kanilang mga pamilya.
Congressman Garbin assures the public and his colleagues that there is no political agenda such as the term extension of President Rodrigo Duterte that will be tackled in the debate. Will?
Yes, thank you, Ray Pelayo, reporting live. Meanwhile, Malacanang denied rumors that President Rodrigo Duterte is after his term extension following congressional efforts to restart talks on charter change. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque also insists that the chief executive is focusing on the government's pandemic response, particularly its large-scale vaccination program. Senators Bato de la Rosa and Francis Tolentino filed a Senate resolution convening Congress as a constituent assembly to introduce limited amendments to the 1987 Constitution. But Roque points out that this is within the purview of the Congress and charter change can only push through with the consent of the members.
So wala pong ibang top priority ang Pangulo kung hindi matapos po itong pandemyang ito sa pamamagitan ng pagbibigay ng bakuna sa ating mga kababayan.
At least 14 district engineers from the Department of Public Works and Highways have been relieved from their posts, according to DPWH Secretary Mark Villar. They will also conduct a reorganization in the entire agency. Joanano tells us why.
Due to alleged involvement on several corruption issues, Department of Public Works and Highways Secretary Mark Villar confirmed that 14 of their district engineers were removed from their posts. According to Secretary Villar, this was in accordance with President Duterte's order to the officials to vacate their posts. Last December, President Duterte have disclosed the names of several district engineers from the DPWH after naming 12 congressmen who were allegedly pocketing kickbacks from the government's public work projects based on the investigation conducted by the Presidential Anti-Corruption Commission.
Actually, yung binanggit po ni Presidente ay na-relieve na. Yung iba, meron na-relieve na sa trabaho, mga 14 na ang na-relieve. And meron kaming ongoing naman, meron din kaming mga complaints sa aming task force against corruption.
President Duterte had earlier asked Secretary Villar to give him the complete list of the names of all the district engineers working on the agency. Although 14 district engineers were relieved from their post, Villar said that their efforts to cleanse DPWH ranks is not yet over and they are open to receive more complaints against its officials and employees.
Tuloy-tuloy naman ang investigasyon namin sa lahat ng mga nagsasubmit ng mga reports. At humingi din kami ng tulong sa mga ibang ehensya para magkaroon ng case build-up sa mga complaints. So, tuloy-tuloy naman po at tingin ko malapit na po makakaroon pa kami ng mas maraming accomplishments.
The Public Works Chief also said that the DPWH will undergo major reshuffle within this month and a lot of changes will happen as they intensify their efforts to eradicate corruption practices under the agency. Joanano, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Former Oriental Mindoro Representative Reynaldo Umali has passed away, his family confirmed, at the age of 63. Incumbent Oriental Mindoro 2nd District Representative Alfonso Umali Jr. said his brother died of cardiac arrest this morning. Umali said his brother tested positive for COVID-19 and was also diagnosed with a late-stage liver cancer in December. Umali served as representative of the 2nd District of Oriental Mindoro from 2010 to 2019. During his last term in Congress, he served as chairman of the House Committee on Justice and led the impeachment proceedings against Supreme Court Chief Justice Maria Lourdes Terreno.
And for those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
The Philippine National Police, or PNP, continues its investigation on the death of flight attendant Christine Dacera following the release of 3 suspects due to a court's decision. The PNP said it will now use its newly acquired subpoena power to help solve the case. Leia Ilagan will tell us why.
The Philippine National Police confirmed that they are now gathering more evidences in the death of the flight attendant Christine Dacera. This after the Makati Prosecutor Office decided to release the 3 arrested suspects after finding that police submitted insufficient evidence to prove she was killed and raped. PNP spokesperson Police Brigadier General Ildebrandi Osana says the CCTV footages from the hotel where Christine's body was found will be additional evidences that they will present to the prosecutor's office. Osana, however, said there were no lapses on the part of the Makati Police.
That doesn't mean na mali yung ginawa ng police, kundi kailangan pang dagdagan pa yung ebidensyang nakuha na ng prosecution.
Osana adds to gather more information, they will use the subpoena powers of the CIDG to require the respondents to give their testimonies. The PNP spokesperson also assures that no persons of interest in the case will be arrested without a warrant of arrest from the court.
Sadya po talagang hindi na sila arestuhin dahil binalik ng prosecutor po yung kaso sa police, sa Makati Police para patuloy pang imbestigahan yung nangyari doon sa pagkamatay ni Miss Christine. In the first place naman, wala namang pwedeng arestong mangyari kung walang warrant po.
Meanwhile, the manhunt operation and the 72 hours ultimatum given by Chief PNP de Bolsinas to the suspects are not applicable after the decision of the Makati Prosecutor's Office. Leia Ilagan, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice pointed out that the PNP can no longer place under arrest the respondents or suspects in the death of Christine Dacera. Dante Amento tells us why.
Respondents or suspects on the death of flight attendant Christine Dacera cannot be arrested unless formal charges will be filed in court and warrants of arrest will be issued. This after the Makati City Prosecutor's Office issued a resolution on Wednesday that ordered the release 3 of the 11 suspects and have the conduct of a preliminary investigation due to insufficient evidence. The chief of the DOJ National Prosecution Service, Prosecutor General Benedicto Malcontento, said the resolution of the case has yet to start.
Habang pending yung inquest proceeding na yan, nasa custody muna siya ng police. But in this particular case, nag-order kami ng release for further investigations. Walang legal basis ngayon to hold them. So the second instance lang na pwede silang ma-hold kung may warrant of arrest na na-issue ang husgado, which in this case, wala pa.
Malcontento adds it is also premature to issue a hold departure order through the Bureau of Immigration against the respondents to prevent them from leaving the country.
Wag muna kasi nag-issue nga kami ng full-blown preliminary investigation because we wanted more. Gusto pa namin makita ang additional evidence kung anong meron ang PNP at NBI and other law enforcement agencies.
Meanwhile, the Department of Justice through the Prosecutor General asks enough time to study the case. The DOJ assures to fast-track the process of the case once all the evidences will be submitted by the PNP, including the DNA analysis report, toxicology or chemical analysis. The respondents will also be given the chance to file their respective counter-affidavit.
Mag-submit ng kanilang counter-affidavit because it is one of the ways para makumpleto natin yung story behind, no? And to give them their due process kung ano talaga yung nangyari at kung ano yung depensa nila. So, antayin natin yung kanilang counter-affidavit at aaralin natin mabuti.
The preliminary investigation will be conducted on January 13, where the Prosecutor General asks all the respondents to attend and cooperate for the case to be resolved immediately. Dante Amento, UNTV, News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
Malacanang is not convinced that the case involving flight attendant Christine Dacera is already solved. Meanwhile, President Rodrigo Duterte assured that those responsible in the case would be held accountable. Rosalie Cos explains why.
Malacanang alleviates the concern of the public after the 3 arrested suspects in the death of flight attendant Cristina Dacera were released last night following the Makati City Prosecutor's Office order. Presidential spokesperson Harry Roque attested that what the fiscal did was in line with the legal process and to assure that those responsible will be held accountable.
So yung ginawa po ng piskal, sang-ayon po yan sa ating Rules of Criminal Procedure, sang-ayon po yan sa rules ng ating piskalya, at ang layon po ito ay para makonvict beyond reasonable doubt yung mga suspect sa karumal-dumal na pagpatay na ito.
The palace official appealed to the public to wait as the investigations are still ongoing.
It's a continuing investigation. The NBI has gotten involved in it. So antayin po natin na makonclude yung investigation. Obviously po, dahil meron pang hininging ebidensya ang ating piskal, case is not yet closed.
The palace has extended its condolences to the Dacera family. Roque said President Rodrigo Duterte vowed that justice will be served.
Ang pangako naman po ng Presidente, magkakamit po ang katarungan sa pamilyang Dacera. Malalaman po natin ang katotohanan at sa administrasyon po ni Presidente dahil siya ay abogado at dati pang piskal, hindi niya hahayaan na mga kriminal ay hindi po mapaparusahan.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The word aneurysm became viral after Christine Dacera was pronounced dead due to ruptured aortic aneurysm. But what is this condition and how can a person prevent on having it? Ray Pelayo filed this report.
An aneurysm is a bulge that forms in the blood vessel, according to the thoracic and cardiovascular surgeon Dr. Christopher Cheng. This may occur in the artery in thigh, knee, back, hand, chest, abdomen, and in brain.
Kasi ang artery parang tubo yan eh. Dapat straight line yan, ano? Pag meron parang bulges, aneurysm na tawag natin doon.
Dr. Cheng noted that aneurysm is a consequence of lifestyle choices that results to high blood sugar and cholesterol, smoking, being physically active, and stress. It may also happen when an artery is stretched in trauma and through infection. Dr. Cheng said aneurysm will not automatically result to death, but the danger is if the aneurysm develops a leak or explodes.
Ultimately, ang kinatatakutan natin sa mga aneurysms ay kung ito'y mag-leak, kung pumutok. Otherwise, kung aneurysm lang, hindi kayo mamamatay sa aneurysm lang. Yun lang kinatakutan kung mag-leak.
But it is different when the aneurysm happens in the brain.
Pag sa brain, kahit na maliit lang yung leak na blood, pwedeng mapisa yung brain kasi ang skull natin is fixed. Kahit na konti lang siya, mapipisa, makukompress yung brain. Kaya nagkakaroon ng yung symptoms na nagkukumatos or namamatay.
Aneurysm usually happens to individuals with age 60 years old and above. The question is it possible also to happen to young people like Christine Dacera, who reportedly died due to aortic aneurysm?
I don't know kung mataas ba yung blood pressure niya, which is for a young person, siguro unlikely rin, active person. Unless merong mga talagang congenital causes na pagkapanganak pa lang, mataas na yung blood pressure. But if that's the case, baka hindi siya na-clear as a flight attendant. Kasi before you get accepted, sine-check up talaga kayo eh.
The same health condition claimed the life of the actress Isabel Granada. Other influential stars who were diagnosed with the condition is Game of Thrones actress Emilia Clarke and rapper and producer Dr. Dre. Aneurysm has no symptoms, but it can be diagnosed through routinary checkup. Dr. Cheng said avoiding vices and eating healthy foods will help avoid aneurysm. Ray Pelayo, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.
In other news, Senator Sherwin Gatchalian has sought the help of the National Bureau of Investigation to track the fraudster behind his credit card hacking. Earlier today, the senator filed an incident report at the NBI headquarters after his credit card was illegally used to purchase 1 million pesos worth of alcoholic beverages. The senator said the hacker was able to change his registered mobile number and received the one-time passwords or OTPs for the transactions.
Mabuti nang magkaroon ng isang formal investigation, hindi lang para sa akin, para po sa mga nabiktima, para po mahanap natin kung sino po talaga ang gumagawa ko nito at mahintunay yung pagbibiktima.
Senator Gatchalian said there's no suspect yet behind the hacking, but the NBI believes it was perpetrated by an organized syndicate. Those who will be caught will face charges for violating Access Devices Regulation Act, E-Commerce Act, and Cybercrime Prevention Act. The lawmaker plans to file a resolution seeking to conduct an inquiry on the security measures and protocols being done by the banks and the central bank against online fraud.
Alam ko, gumagamit sila ng mga bagong teknolohiya, pero kulang pa. Dahil nalalampasan mo sila ng mga ganitong scammers at ganitong mga hackers. So dapat mas mabilis at mas innovative yung gagawin po ng mga bangko at ng BSP.
In a statement, Union Bank said the investigation is underway and assured their customers that it was an isolated incident. Meanwhile, the BSP said they will also work with the concerned institution for the investigation, adding that they are open with a possible congressional probe. The central bank said they have been constantly reviewing their regulations and enhancing their cybersecurity programs. The BSP also noticed an increasing trend in reported incidents of online fraud.
As we go digital, diba? As we rely heavily on digital platforms, mas naging creative din yung mga fraudster. That's really the downside. And it's not only in the Philippines. It's happening globally.
The BSP reminds the public to be alert, protect their personal information, and monitor their account activities and the alerts from their banks.
Kailangan talaga ng vigilance, no? Unang-una, hindi talaga magpapadala ng text or email yung mga bangko natin para kunin yung mga information about the client. In the first place, alam nila yun kasi nasa kanila na yung information. So, hindi rin sila tatawag para hingin yung OTP, so wag natin i-share yung OTP.
For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook.
Several kinds of masks believed to give protection against COVID-19 are on trend now. Some of these are copper masks with mask valves. But a group of physicians do not recommend its use. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
Copper masks are offered online and also on social media sites. Celebrities and even ordinary citizens patronize copper masks. But based on an advisory of the Philippine College of Physicians or PCP, it appears that it cannot give an individual full protection against COVID-19. According to Dr. Maricar Limpin, Vice President of the PCP, copper masks have holes which can be an entry point of a virus to a person wearing it.
Ang isang problem na nakikita namin dito sa copper mask, kung makikita ninyo yung dito sa bandang baba, meron kang space, no? So, the virus can still enter, no, through that space na mai-inhale natin. So, meron kang port of entry para doon sa virus mo na makakapunta, aabot sa ilong natin at saka sa bibig.
Dr. Limpin clarified that while it is true that copper has an antibacterial properties, its capability to protect an individual depends on the level of copper content. More copper content, the better. But if it can't give full protection to the mouth and nose, then it will not be effective.
What is very important with the use of copper in mask, kailangan alam din natin how much copper ang incorporated doon sa mask. Okay? So kung 1% copper lang yan, then it's not going to really help.
Dr. Limpin advises individuals who already have purchased a copper mask just make sure to have additional protection when using it.
Pag gamit mo yung copper mask na yan, meron ka pa rin mask na ilalagay para ma-cover yung ano na yan, yung opened port na yan doon sa copper mask. It's very inconsiderate, no, para doon sa taong nagsosuot noon. Sa kanya, maganda siya, maganda pakiramdam niya, pero maaaring makahawa siya ng ibang tao.
The group of doctors does not also recommend masks with inhalation valves because the person wearing it may still transmit virus or be infected with COVID-19. Dr. Limpin adds, it is better to even use 3-layer cloth masks that can surely give protection. They said it is a must to prefer protective items that promise complete protection than just mere fashion. Lastly, they asked the public to be responsible and properly wear face masks and face shields, as well as maintain proper social distancing to prevent COVID-19 transmission. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
The Department of Health reported that the confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the country grew to 482,083. After 1,353 new cases were detected. Most of the new cases were found in Rizal with 63, Laguna with 62, City of Marikina with 60, Quezon City with 58, and Davao City with 54. There were also 360 new survivors and 9 fatalities, raising the tally of recoveries to 449,052, while the death toll is at 9,356. The tally of recoveries and deaths left the number of active cases at 23,675.
And for the news abroad, here's Maria Latosa reporting live from Perth, Australia.
In Western Australia, firefighters continue to combat a major bushfire north of Perth with severe conditions over the coming days, fueling up the fire risk. The spread of a threatening bushfire has been slowed, but according to authorities, they fear that extreme weather conditions in coming days will serve as a challenge to bring the blaze under control. 9,500 hectares with a perimeter of more than 100 kilometers has been destroyed during the Red Gully fire in the Shire of Gingin and Dandaragan after burning since Saturday. An emergency warning remains in some local communities, with the most concerns held for the residential development at Ocean Farm Estate and a nearby Seaview. About 200 firefighters are battling the blaze with a strong aerial support, including 2 of the large air tankers flown in from Victoria. A new study by the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that people are 10 times more likely to experience severe allergic reactions to COVID-19 vaccines compared to flu shots. Marvi Delfin will tell us why live. Yes, Marvi, please go ahead.
Marielle, according to a report from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, or CDC, 21 people experienced anaphylaxis after receiving their first dose of the COVID-19 vaccines from Pfizer-BioNTech and Moderna. 17 of these cases had a history of allergies or allergic reactions, and women accounted for 90% of these cases. The majority occurred quickly after the jab, within about 15 minutes, requiring an emergency injection of epinephrine. Since the report was finalized on December 23, 7 more cases of vaccine-related anaphylaxis were confirmed, bringing the total number to 28. Another 83 vaccine recipients had less severe allergic reactions, such as a rash, excessive itching, and scratchy, irritated throats, mostly within half an hour. Researchers are working to find the cause of allergic reactions to Pfizer-BioNTech BioNTech and Moderna vaccines, but have not yet come up with anything definitive. While all of the patients have recovered, the risk rate of anaphylaxis rose to 11.1 per million doses administered, which is almost 10 times more compared to the risk rate of flu vaccines, which is at 1.3 per million shots. Dr. Nancy Mazanier, head of the CDC's National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases, assured that the severe reactions are still exceedingly rare, stressing the need for people to get vaccinated when vaccines become available to them, given the threat of serious illness and death from the coronavirus. The CDC said it will continue to monitor for adverse events and will regularly assess the benefits and risk of vaccination. However, the COVID-19 vaccines continue to be an important tool in efforts to control the pandemic, especially as the coronavirus has claimed more than 357,000 lives in the U.S. alone, averaging 2,000 deaths per day. Back to you, Marielle.
All right, Marvy, thank you for that live report. Meanwhile, the Malaysian government is looking whether to vaccinate foreign workers and expatriates for free. Maya Barquez will tell us why.
Malaysia's COVID-19 Vaccine Supply Access Guarantee Committee would discuss the decision to provide free vaccination to foreign workers, expatriates, and permanent residents in the country to effectively curb COVID-19 outbreaks. According to Science, Technology and Innovation Minister Khairi Jamaluddin, the meeting will be held jointly with ministries from the Human Resources, Home and Foreign at the end of the month. Foreign workers should be vaccinated as soon as possible, since they are a high-risk group and many clusters detected involves them, Shamsuddin said. The move is to ensure the others to feel safe and allow the government to cover as many foreign workers as possible, he added. The Malaysian Employers Federation, MEF, has welcomed the government's decision to provide free vaccinations to foreign workers in the country. Because of the pandemic, most of the employers are facing cash flow issues since businesses have not been able to return to pre-pandemic situations. The free vaccines will be a financial relief to the employers, especially in the small and medium enterprises, according to MEF Director Datuk Shamsuddin Bardan. Based on the latest statistics, there are more than 300,000 Filipinos living in Malaysia, with majority of the population in Sabah, Kuala Lumpur, Johor, and Malacca. Maya Barquez, UNTV News and Rescue, Malaysia. We serve the people, we give glory to God.
And those are the reasons behind the news here in Australia and in other parts of the globe. For those watching us on YouTube, please click the subscribe button you see on the right side of your screen and ring the bell for notification. You may also follow us on Facebook. Back to you, William.
Thank you, Mariela Tosa, reporting live from Perth, Australia.
Several original Filipino music artists are in a tight race as the online voting for the 2021 Wish Music Awards ends next week. Nina Arbilio will tell us why.
Wishers have only more than a week left before the online poll for the 2021 Wish Music Awards closes on January 15. According to recent data from Wish 1075, there are 3 million cumulative votes for the various categories. Some artists are toe-to-toe in a few categories. P-pop band SB19 and pop rock band The Juans are in close match for the Wish Group of the Year and Wishclusive Performance of the Year categories, while two young rappers, Kyo and Michael Pacquiao, are trying to one-up each other for the Wishclusive Hip Hop Performance of the Year award. If there are close fights in other categories, there are those who are taking the lead, just like Moira de la Torre, who is dominating the Wish Ballad Song of the Year for her hit Hanggang sa Huli. Meanwhile, folk pop rock band Ben and Ben is leading the Contemporary Folk Performance of the Year category. Scores will be cumulatively obtained from wishers' votes, which will comprise 30%, and votes from a select panel of judges, which is 70%. The 2021 Wish Music Awards happens on the 17th of January at the Smart Araneta Coliseum. The event, which will be streamed live via Wish 107.5's official YouTube channel, will be top-billed by a stellar roster of performers including Asia's Soul Supreme KZ Tandingan, hip-hop phenomenon Glock 9, and P-pop breakthrough SB19, among others. Iconic OPM band Parokya ni Edgar will also grace the Wish 107.5 stage for the first time. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue. We serve the people. We give glory to God.